Well, with the Gate River Run just days away now, it's time to really start tapering down and focusing on your routine for race day. So that means what you're going to wear, how you're going to eat, and what you're going to drink. So joining us now with some advice on that is Ryder Leary from the Yates YMCA. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So it's a few days away, and we still have to start thinking about getting up to game day as well as game day. So at this point, what should you really be thinking about in preparation?
So you have a few days left in running wise. You don't want to go out there and do anything that's like too extreme. You kind of want your body to start really recovering, kind of getting really ready for the race. But you also don't want to do anything outside of the ordinary. So don't plan an extra biking week today or something extreme.
Yeah, and so you also want to start thinking about what you're going to wear for game day. I mean, race day, excuse me. So how do you approach that?
So typically, again, if you're talking about specifics for the actual race day, the shoes that you run in, you don't want them to be anything that's like different than normal. You don't want to be training in a pair of shoes or racing in a pair of shoes that you hadn't worn before. So if it's your first day putting those shoes on, probably not a good idea.
So you should kind of have the shoes already that you're going to be running in. It's
Absolutely.
not time to break them in at this point?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Same thing with some of the clothes you're wearing. If it's something that you typically don't train in, I would probably shy away from it. Something you're kind of used to.
Are there certain types of clothing that you should avoid or types that you should look for?
I mean, just kind of a general rule of thumb, you want something that's a lot lighter, especially if it's going to be a warmer day. A lot of dry fit stuff, maybe not so much cotton for the fact that it absorbs a lot of moisture and kind of be heavy on you. But if it's warmer, then, or if it's cooler, then making sure that you have something that you got a couple layers you can peel off just in case.
Yeah. I know one thing for me when I was running, had little things like, you know, around me that I had on, and I did not run in them prior, and so it was kind of like something to get adjusted to. And I was like, next time I need to make sure that I know what equipment I'm going to have and how it's going to feel. So that's something you need to think about as well.
Absolutely. Nothing new for race day. Again, you don't want to shock yourself into something you hadn't done before.
What kind of equipment should we be looking at?
So, and again, this is more personal preference. Like, I'm personally one of those people, it's a shoes, shorts, and a jersey, and that's about it. But if you're really into having some music with you, making sure that it's something, again, it's nothing that you haven't done before, nothing new, headphones or something you know how to operate already.
What do you need this Vaseline for?
So now that's a personal preference. Some people will have some chafing under their armpits or in between their thighs, back of their knees. But again, that's just more to keep you from getting some chafing going on.
Gotcha. So when you're running, I love how everybody's on the side cheering you on, but there are also those hydration stations every so often, and you don't really need to just keep going. You need to stop and get some water.
That's right. Especially for a race that's about 15K like this, you're pushing the limit of making sure that you don't exhaust the fluid that you already have in you. But again, most of this effort is going to be put in before the race, and making sure you're drinking at least 2 hours before the race and a good amount of water. Then during the race, hit a couple of the stations while you're going.
I know when you round the corner and you see the green monster, you try not to look at it and get intimidated. How do you approach that mentally when you're thinking about going over the bridge?
Kind of a good rule of thumb is don't look at the bridge in front of you. Don't look at the obstacle in front of you. Look at the person's feet in front of you or the ground right in front of you.
That's good. And then once you cross over the bridge and you're done, what should you do after the race?
Celebrate.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of training up to this point. Make sure you plan something that makes it, it's worth your while.
Yeah, but is there something your body really needs at that point to recover?
Absolutely.
Besides the celebration.
Making sure that you replenish with some carbohydrates as well as some proteins to kind of build back up some of the muscle you've broken down.
Yeah, especially because we're losing an hour or two. You need rest. Your body probably needs rest as well. So we're so excited.
Yes,
Thank you for helping us as a lot of people preparing for the big race. Of course, YMCA is still offering those free group runs. If you want to check one out, the Yates Family YMCA runs are Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. and then Saturdays at 8. I don't know if it'll be this Saturday because that's the race, but Brooks Family YMCA on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. and then Thursdays at 6:45 a.m. Of course, we are going to have you covered live on race day. You can see people crossing the finish line and interviews.